Hi kids, welcome to Terry on Tuesday. Coming to you here from the Attic of Achievements on one of my 2024 not so regular videos. But today is the moment you've all been waiting for and kind of the moment I've been dreading, but definitely a moment someone's all been waiting for, which is Mr. E, who commissioned me to build the Vl'Hurg helmet, which looks like that, from the BBC Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, one of my favourite shows ever. Now, the reason it's the moment we've all been waiting for is it's the final assembly. Now, there comes a couple of disclaimers. Firstly, I haven't assembled it before. I'm just hoping it all goes together nicely. Secondly, there are certain things I probably won't be able to assemble fully because I'll talk about it when we get to it. But in order to assemble things utterly, it may risk damage to pull them apart and things like that. So I'm just going to assemble it as best I possibly can as a kind of guide for Mr. E when he finally takes possession of it. I'm noticing little scuffs already in his part of the world. Now, we're going to see how much we can do. I've decided not to put the horns on because it involves metalwork, nuts and bolts, and they are light, a little bit fiddly, and I don't want to risk damaging them. But what I do need to do, remember that was held on by magnets. I need to get the face plate on and the back and just see what happens there. Now, like I say, I've got an idea of how this should go, but having never done it before, it may not go according to plan. Now, one thing to begin with, I want to put the faceplate on first, I think, and the faceplate goes in the gap between the polystyrene bit here and the rubber trim of the helmet. The slot is really tight, and it will be for the back piece as well. So I think it's more a case of using I've got a little sculpting dental tool here, but you can use like a kind of small kitchen knife, like a bread knife, something rounded and reasonably blunt, to go in there and basically just work the gap a little bit wider. That looks pretty good already. The plan is, you see, once it's finally assembled, to put glue on the top of the faceplate, push it in and leave it to set so it's in there permanently. I don't think this works as a very good temporary thing. It may fall off if you're wearing it. Anyway, yeah, I do have lots to talk about. In fact, I've got tons of things to talk about. Obviously, both films, Offworld and Bloody Students, but I'm going to leave that for another video because I've noticed that I tend to talk quite a lot about other stuff, and the videos end up being 20-30 minutes long. Why is that? So I'm just making sure. Why is there a gap there? Or why is there not a gap there, I should say. There we go. So I've made a little tiny mark here. It's a tiny scratch on the rubber trim. I don't know if you can see that, but it just reminds me to line up the faceplate with a little pencil mark at the center there. Alrighty. Oh, another thing, because the crest here is made of EVA foam, it's probably not a good idea to put it down on a hard table and working it like that, because it'll deform this and maybe the paint will come off. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to get something soft to support the whole thing. What can I use? Stay there. I'm back. I have a towel. A towel or some cushions type thing would be pretty handy. So I'm just going to make the little kind of U shape there. See what I'm doing? Move the table back. just to kind of put that there, just so it's sitting on the towel and not being squished on the table. Right, that's the back, that's the front. Turn it around. So we've got a little donut for it to sit on. Okay, so I'm going to come around here and see if we can explain a little better. Let's move the camera. Can you all see it? Alrighty, just about. Okay, so it's got to go into here and flaps out. This is temporary, this tape. It's been holding glue on for a long time, but in a matter of weeks, in fact. So anyway, so basically lining up the two marks, there's a scratch there and a mark there, as I said. Pop them on there. Because I was working the tool in earlier, it goes quite well. I just want to check how far it needs to go. As you can see, it's not far enough. Basically, all of this area, all the way up to the top of the eye holes, needs to go into the helmet. Yeah, the reason it doesn't go all the way in is because the slot that this goes into is extremely tight. I can see here that it's gone in about 5 millimeters. I could Dremel this thin. I think what I might do is cut a little bit off, as I said. We're back. So turns out I had to get scissors, a scalpel and the old Dremel on the go to do what I said. I've trimmed off the top of this a little bit. It has made the edge of the paint a little scruffy here, but that's going to be hidden in the thing. I've sanded it, and I've also done my best to sharpen the top end of that. So we're going to try and see if we can fit this in here now. Where's the front? There's the front. Okay, fingers crossed. Here we go. Camera down. Ready. So line up the marks, mark up the lines. What are you talking about? Right. Oh, that is a better fit already. That seems to have gone in much nicer. I've got to be gentle with it. Certainly a better fit. Right. Yeah, you can see it's going in a bit better now. Again, got to be careful, got to be gentle. I don't believe it's going to go in much tighter than that, to be honest. I ain't going in any further. I'm going to try working out the gap a little bit more before I try to force this anymore. Right, where's my... that will come in handy. That's the end of my scalpel. Just want to see why we have nice gaps here. Very big gap. Look, that's a good 30 mil there, and then almost nothing here. I think it's glue. Yeah, there are things connected to the straps, etc. And much as I'd hate to admit it, I think I'm gonna have to take the straps out, because the back piece will come up to this strap and it's got to go past these. So unfortunately, the straps need to go. Let's come back when we've cut the straps out. Well, that took longer than I thought. I had to take this entirely out because the straps were connected to a piece of plastic strip which was all riveted right around the edge of the helmet at these spots. You can see that there's still a rivet in the back there, which I don't need to take out. That was from the little leather thing. But on the edges, there, and there. Where are they? One there and one there. So I had to fight with all sorts of tools. In the end, cutting disc on the Dremel to cut the bolts out. And there's a bolt. What happened was, while I was cutting the bolt, the friction melted the fiberglass only around the bolt, and I was able to pull, you can see that, I was able to pull the bolt right through the melted plastic without damaging anything on the outside, but it's cleaned it up nicely. What I will probably have to do now is put a spot of glue or something in here just to keep that in. But I guarantee life will be simpler now. I'm just going to put this polystyrene shell back in. That literally fell in, pretty much. That's awesome. See, it's a bit wobbly now. See? But I think it would probably need Velcro, or square of Velcro on the inside there, or another spot of glue. But let's see what happens when we haven't got studs and straps and all sorts of things in the way now. So, camera doon. Alrighty. Okay, so front marks together. Polystyrene in. Right, all these are out the way. How perfect is that? It's not quite lined up. I need to move it over to the side a little bit. There we go. I'm avoiding trying to push the nose because the nose is made of a softer material. So I'm just kind of pushing on the edge of the mouth here. But look at that. Oh, that's perfect. Perfect all the way around. Weirdly enough, with this going in here, it tightens up the polystyrene. Let's suit you. Now we're cooking on gas. Yeah, I know. I tried to keep the straps in as long as I could, which evidently made life more difficult, but I wanted to keep the straps in to see if they could be used to go under the chin and stuff, but it turns out that removing them solves a multitude of problems. Okay, so that goes in there. I've already trimmed the back of the shroud. Okay, so a little tricky, this one. Like, very tricky. I think I'm going to have to do it from the inside. Yep, that's fine. That goes in there. Trick is to pull the polystyrene by the black cloth here. Grab the cloth and pull it away from the rim, and then pop that down there. Back's popped out, middle's popped in. One more to go. Very, very tricky, but again, once it's all glued in, I think it'll be great. It's made life a lot easier. Get in there. Okay, 1, 2, 3. It's all on. There's the back. Sides nicely overlapping. See if I can, like I say, I'm not going to put the horns on right now because of bolting and all sorts of craziness. I think it needs to be assembled in a better way, but let's see if I can just put this on for now. I like it a lot. So where are the horns? I can just about see what I'm doing. So the horns, obviously with the points on top, would go there. I ain't got a lot of room in this attic, but okay. That, ladies and gentlemen, is where we end today's video. I will do a separate video for Mr. E, probably just a quick private one to say, you know, this is how it needs to go together, etc., etc. There will be a certain amount of assembly and, you know, like I say, gluing things, making sure the polystyrene helmet itself is in place before you tuck in all the faceplate and the thing. But I'm happy with that. He's done. He is, like all my projects, far from perfect. I know there are some far more skilled people out there who can do perfection. I cannot, and I've never claimed to be a perfectionist, because I believe perfection is the domain of very few people, and I'm not one of them. But pretty decent. I think, looking at this, the back needs to, the faceplate overlaps the back sheet, you know, so it's like that, so there's less of a gap. This way I've done it the wrong way around. I've done the back sheet overlapping the faceplate, but it should be the other way, you know, kind of like that. I have to just tuck that in, I think. Yeah, that's got to go behind the faceplate. So probably put the back on first, glue it in position, put some glue on the top of the plastic pieces all the way around, glue it, leave it overnight, then do the front. I wouldn't go for a temporary fix, but yeah, that should the faceplate should overlap the back like that. I've just noticed one of these is coming unglued, unstuck under here, which is an absolute pain, but I'll re-glue that. But for a long lost BBC prop costume that there is no reference material for, as far as I'm aware. Magnets work well on that. He's done. Mr. E, I apologize for how long this has taken, and we've got to get him in the post to you, and hopefully he won't arrive in a damaged state. But I will add extra material if you need some spare leatherette stuff. I've got plenty. I will of course add the front thing that just clips on the front of the horns there, the horns themselves, the cones for the ends of the horns, which will be glued on in a very big box. And I don't know how I'm going to describe that to the postmaster. What's in it? A crash helmet, you know. Still, I'm glad we've got to the finish line. I know it's been many videos for you guys watching this over the past year. My arm's beginning to hurt. I want to put him down. I'll put him back on the towel, I think. It's been many videos, but there's nothing better than getting to the end of a long process. This was not an easy build. Looking back, there were all kinds of slight problems, very fiddly. Would I have done anything differently in future? I think I would have made the faceplate out of something else, maybe even 3D printed it, but that would still make it quite brittle when assembling. But no, other than that, I managed to match the paint on the helmet, and the leather is quite a good match. The gold hammerite worked really well. The horns were a nightmare. I think they would have been better if they were 3D printed, at least these parts, and make some 3D printed ones as opposed to polystyrene, which could fit on there like so and be a little bit sturdier than polystyrene, or styrofoam if you're in the States. But generally, if Mr. E wants to make another one or whatever, you pretty much got the measurements here. You can take measurements from this. Maybe you could 3D print, model, photogrammetry, whatever, to do an almost brand new one based on these measurements, and you can still tweak the things that that you don't like or you want to improve. Anyway, yeah, I'm happy to say that's one of my at least 5 long overdue projects that I need to finish. Obviously I'm making a movie at the same time. I've got lots of other stuff, and I don't want to feel like I'm letting people down, but this was the one that's been going on, I think, the longest. So once again, I hope Mr. E enjoys it, whether it's on display or to wear. I hope you're happy with it. I hope you think it was worth the time and the effort and the investment. Again, it's not perfect, and I don't know what I'd do to make it more perfect, but we are there. We're at the end. So I hope you found that reasonably interesting. I know it's been a long video, but that's the Vl'Hurg helmet. Started last year, finished in 2024. I may have a video for you next week, depending on what's happening with the film and my other costume builds and other stuff. Plenty of Zaphod Beeblebrox action happening. I will speak to you when I see you next. Take care now. Bye-bye then.